So today, let's pull back the curtain and get right into the science of how your body builds itself bigger and stronger. You know the cycle, right? You have a killer workout, and then for the next day or two, you're feeling it. You get sore, you rest up, you eat, and you come back just a little bit stronger. But what's the secret story happening inside your body that makes that possible? How does that last grinding rep actually translate into real, measurable growth?
And the very first domino that needs to fall is something called mechanical tension. What we're talking about here is the actual force your muscles have to generate to fight that resistance. When you lift something heavy, you are physically stretching and putting stress on every single one of those muscle fibers. This tension is basically the #1 message to your body that says, whoa, this is heavy. We need to upgrade the equipment around here to handle this next time.
Okay, so your muscles get that signal loud and clear. What happens next? Well, all that force creates a little bit of chaos. But trust me, it's a very productive kind of chaos that sets up the next critical step, the damage and, of course, the cleanup. That heavy load actually creates tiny, microscopic tears inside the muscle fibers themselves. Now, I know the word damage sounds bad, but in this context, it's absolutely essential. This isn't some kind of injury you need to worry about. Think of it more like a precise biological alarm bell. These tiny tears are exactly what triggers your body's amazing emergency response system to kick into high gear. And here's kind of how that whole response plays out. Right after your workout, you've got the microdamage. Then, about a day later, your immune system sends in the cleanup crew, these pro-inflammatory cells that get in there and clear out all the cellular debris. Then, a couple days after that, the repair crew arrives. These are anti-inflammatory cells that calm everything down and get the rebuilding process started. You know that soreness you feel? That's often a sign that this whole vital process is well underway. So the construction site has been cleared. The debris is gone, the area is prepped. Now the body needs to flip the master switch that tells the muscle cell, okay, it's time to actually start building new protein. And that brings us to mTOR. You could say mTOR is the MVP of muscle growth. Think of it as the general contractor on this whole construction project. It's a protein inside your cells, and when it gets activated, it gives the final go to start building. When mTOR is switched on, protein synthesis, which is the actual creation of new muscle tissue, just ramps up like crazy. So how do we turn this thing on? It's a pretty cool chain of command. It all starts with that mechanical tension from the lift. That tension causes a spike in a signaling molecule inside the cell called phosphatidic acid, or PA. This molecule then acts like a key, fitting right into the mTOR complex and turning it on. And the result? The factory starts pumping out brand new muscle proteins. Okay, so the factory inside the cell is running at full steam, all thanks to mTOR. But for a really big renovation project, you gotta call in some specialized workers from the outside. And the body has this dedicated crew just on standby for this exact purpose. Let me introduce you to satellite cells. These things are incredible. They're basically muscle stem cells, and they just hang out on the surface of your muscle fibers, totally dormant, just waiting. They are the body's on-call, dedicated muscle repair team. So under normal conditions, these cells are just sleeping or quiescent. They're just sitting there, chilling. But when that micro damage from your workout happens, it's like a giant alarm clock goes off. The satellite cells get activated, they wake up, and they have a very, very specific job to do. Their mission has 3 parts. First, the damage signal wakes them up. Second, they proliferate, which is just a fancy way of saying they multiply, creating a whole crew of new builder cells. And third, and this is the really cool part, they actually fuse with your existing damaged muscle fiber. They patch up the holes, and, most importantly, they donate their own nuclei. And this is why satellite cells are so unbelievably important for long-term progress. See, each nucleus inside a muscle cell can only manage so much territory. By donating new nuclei, these satellite cells are basically adding more factory managers to the operation. This permanently increases the muscle's capacity to create protein and to grow bigger and stronger in the future. It's a permanent upgrade. So we've had the initial trigger, the cleanup crew came in, the master switch got flipped, and the reinforcements have arrived and done their job. What does this all add up to? Let's take a look at the final product. And here it is, the most amazing part of this whole story. Your body doesn't just patch the muscle back up to how it was before, it overcompensates. It rebuilds the fiber to be thicker and stronger so that the next time it has to face that same amount of stress, it's ready for it. This beautiful process is called adaptation.
So let's just recap the body's blueprint for growth, right? The damage from lifting, that's the signal, not the enemy. mTOR, that's the on switch for building. Satellite cells are the specialized construction crew that repairs, reinforces, and upgrades the whole structure. And please remember, all of this incredible growth happens during recovery, when you're resting and eating, not while you're in the gym. And those new nuclei they donate, that's what sets you up for long-term potential. Understanding this process, from that very first bit of tension, all the way to the fusion of a satellite cell, it really changes how you look at your training. Every single rep is a signal. Every meal you eat is fuel for repair. And every night of sleep is construction time. The science is the blueprint. The building, well, that's up to you.